Hi guys, welcome back to another edition of Chats from the Blog Cabin. I'm joined by my amazing friend Angela from Audaciously African, also the ultimate fashionista. I always get tongue-tied on that. And she's going to talk to us about her jewelry, mainly about her jewelry today, which you can see her wearing right now. Beautiful piece right there, big statement piece. I was afraid that I would knock myself out with that piece. So Angela, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, everyone. I'm Angela. I run a fashion blog. I'm actually a fashion stylist, and I run a fashion blog. I started making jewelry about 3, 4 years ago, and so I'm just now starting to try to promote it a little better. My brand is called the Ultimate Fashionista. However, the jewelry I have named that Audaciously African because the pieces are large, and the products are imported directly from Africa.
And right now I'm streaming your blog so people can see what your blog is all about and all your styling. I will say that you actually styled me for my daughter's Gracie's quinceanera, and she did an amazing job, even though it was hard trying to we were in different towns, and it was like, okay, do you like this? No, I don't like this. Yes, I like this. I don't like this. So tell us how you got started with fashion styling.
Fashion styling. Actually, I grew up with my mother, and her and my grandmother used to go to thrift stores and vintage stores all the time, and of course I would tag along. My mom was into modeling, and she just loved vintage. So her and my grandmother would go out every Saturday morning and go shopping, and I'd go with them. And I just started taking a liking to, the things she would find. I'd go in her closet and play dress up. And then actually one day I scheduled a photo shoot for my son and I. He was in high school, and the fair was in town. And so my photographer says, well, I said, well, my son doesn't want to take the photos, so I'll have to do it by myself, the photo shoot. So my photographer says, well, just bring a few outfits. We'll make it work. We'll fill up the time. Long story short, after the photo shoot, she says, Angela, have you ever thought about being a stylist? And so on the drive home, I was thinking, I've been doing this. I've been a stylist. In high school, I was that girl that people would, want me to tag along with them to the mall, and they'd call me and ask me for my opinion. I didn't really realize that people could do it as a business. And so that's how I started the styling business. And when I first started, of course, I didn't have any customers. I didn't have any clients. So I said, I'm going to start a blog and just start writing about fashion and put together different ideas of what you can wear with what, and just, provide style inspiration. And it took off from there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and I love the fact that you shop the thrift stores, you shop for vintage pieces, because I think that's so unique, and that's definitely your niche right there, is shopping for vintage pieces.
Thank you. I like the fact that you can find unique pieces, as well as you're repurposing the things that are already, out here in the world. Vintage is near and dear to my heart because I just find that the pieces are quality made and like I said, just really unique.
Now let's talk about Audaciously African. Where do you find your inspiration for your pieces?
That is a good question. Actually, how I got started with the jewelry is I had an idea. I had an outfit and I had an idea of a piece that I wanted, a piece of jewelry that I wanted. And so I shopped all around, tried online, tried various local stores, couldn't find anything. And so I said, I'm going to make what I want. So I went to a bead shop in downtown Raleigh, which is now closed, unfortunately. I took classes on jewelry making, and I saw some beads from Africa, which is the beads that I use in my jewelry. Fell in love with those, and eventually decided that that's what I wanted to focus on, those specific beads. And it's a reason, like I said, I purchasing the beads, helping the people in Ghana with their business, and I feel like I'm just giving back. when I do that.
Yeah. Now tell us about the piece that you're wearing right now, because it's a really big statement piece, definitely a statement piece. Like I said, I would knock myself out with that. But you have the ring to match with it, which I think is really cool. So tell us
Yeah,
about those.
this is these brass pieces are actually made in Ghana as well. It's 100% brass. I make different sizes, so I like bold and bold and audaciously big pieces, but I realize not everyone likes that type of style, so I do make smaller pieces. The beads actually are made from recycled glass, and what they do is they crush the glass and they put them in molds, and then they actually hand paint them, each one. So talk about putting work into your product, right? So um, I just love them. I mean, for me, they're easy to bead because they've got big holes. And so, yeah, that's really the gist of it.
I like the way you said it's easy to be because they have big holes.
My eyes don't see well anymore. So the little seed beads and everything.
Yeah, I know the little beads are like, yeah, you see, I still have glasses on. So yeah, definitely.
Got some examples of some pieces here on the table, which you can't see, and some examples behind me of things that I can pull and show you, pull up to the camera and show a little bit better.
Okay. If you want to do that, go right ahead. Just show us some pieces.
Sure. Let's see. This is actually one of the first pieces I made, and I pride myself in it because once I learned how to bead, and this is actually the piece that I had in mind for uh, my outfit that I wanted to wear, which it features the brass mask. Um, the beads are, like I said, from Ghana, and they're a lot of the symbols that they use are called adinkra, and they mean different things. But if you look in, if you research it, it's really interesting. And and like I said, these are all hand painted with the brass in between. I did string this on leather, but I also use wire and yeah, pretty much wire and what else have I used before? That's pretty much it. Here's another piece that's on leather. It's got the different masks on
Mhm.
as well. And let's see, I'll show you this one. This one is on wire.
Oh, I
And this,
like that one. I really like that. I like the colors in that one. It's really pops.
thank you. And the earrings to match are right here.
Now, how long does it take you normally to do a piece?
It depends. The design is actually the hardest part. Coming out with the design and then to me it's almost like styling because you I think about the colors, the what goes well together as far as the beads go. So it's not just a matter of just stringing beads. It's the design, like almost like an artist. Is the piece that you put the work into. Once you get your design, I mean, stringing them is the easy part.
So, how do you come up with your designs?
I basically think about colors. I do it the same way I style. I don't have really a method, but it's more or less just thinking about the colors. And I like mixing things. If you haven't noticed in my fashion blog, for
Mhm.
instance, I'll mix florals and animal prints a lot. And so I think about that when I'm also designing the jewelry with regards to mixing different patterns and prints and things like that, and different materials to make it interesting.
Do you put anything down on paper, or do you just bead and see what looks right?
I just bead and see what it looks right.
How often have you gotten to a point and you're just like, no, and it's halfway down and you're like, no, it doesn't look right. I want to redo this all thing. Have you ever?
That sometimes that happens. It doesn't. Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, sometimes I'll. It's one of those things where you know it when you see it. Have
Mhm.
you feel like that? Like when you're shopping for something and you may not know it quite what you're looking for, but when you see it, you're like, that's it. So I have a lot of those "that's it" moments. restring until I get a design that I like. Or if I'm doing custom, really all the work is custom. I will say that. I try not to make, the same pieces because I want everyone to feel unique, that they have something special that they can't just walk out and see anyone else with. So yeah.
I think that's where your vintage part comes in with your fashion blog. It kind of ties in with your jewelry as well because you want people not to have the same thing. You don't want to be someone to go to Ross and buy the same exact outfit that you've styled somebody in. So I think that's really awesome.
Or if they do buy that same outfit, I mean, we can put a twist on it where yours wouldn't look like the person who wears it, because in reality, fashion is repeated, all over the place, and we see the same things. But to add that uniqueness to an outfit or a piece of jewelry is what I strive for.
Yeah. So where do you get your inspirations? Like I said, where for like custom pieces, do people come and tell you like, hey, I want this color, and this color, or do they say I want something like this? Or
Had it all, just like with styling. I've had it all. I've had people who have seen things I've made, and I haven't had to market a lot because the jewelry sells itself. Once I make it, and if I post it or if someone wears it, I usually get a lot more orders just from that. So what I tell them is that I may not be able to make the exact same piece, but something similar. So in that case, that's the way I handle it. Or I've had people say, I want you to make me something. And then I might say, well, I might just think about that person and their personality and their style. And, some people, just like with personal styling, they allow you to freely, they want a change, so to speak. They welcome the idea of, let her come up with it. I mean, I'm a stylist, and I actually like when people style me, because everyone would wear something different. So that's basically it. I mean, I think about the person. Or if they tell me what colors they like, then I'll work with, the beads I have that are the colors, things like that.
yeah, I'm actually showing right now on the piece. Is that the piece that you're wearing currently or close to it?
Yeah, this is the piece that I'm wearing currently.
And so is that available to for sale right now or no?
This one isn't, but like I said, I can make something similar.
You're like, no, this is my personal one.
Yeah, that was a custom order. That was a custom order because a client saw another client with one, and it just so happens that I had another one of these big medallions. These are not easy to get, and the brass over the last 4 years has become a lot more expensive. So, and a lot less available. So.
And you do bracelets too? Men's bracelets.
Do a lot of men's bracelets. Men are into those bead bracelets like crazy, and I do on the stretchy, the stretchy rope.
Yeah, I'm just going through. I'm just letting everybody see your Instagram. I like this one. I like the subtle tones in it. It's not so big and bold. It's like subtly there.
A men's necklace, and I have another example. This is one I made for my son. That was actually the inspiration for the one you're showing. Let me hold the camera up. This one has a instead of a brass mask, it has a Africa brass pendant on it. But I had made this for my son, and then a client saw it and was like, I want one. I want one with the mask. So
you're like, so I'm just gonna make one. Has there ever been one that you said, no, I can't do it because you don't have the availability of the beads or availability of the medallions?
only a few times I had someone ask for a big medallion like this, and wasn't able to get any. So I made them one. Let me see if I have an example. Um, it was a little bit bigger than this one.
Oh, that's pretty.
And you can see the size, thank you, compared to mine. And she was fine with it. She liked she didn't, really quite like the big. So she was pleased with it. Here's another one that I made. It's the same type of medallion, different pattern, but it's with the different colors.
I think I'm more drawn to those colors, the yellows and the blues and the light
Yeah.
greens. I like those colors better than the more subtle colors.
And this one is meant to be more of a choker. This one sits, higher than the piece that I'm wearing, and it kind of comes more, higher. So, but anyway, getting back to your question, yes, I have. The only other time I couldn't make something is they wanted a sorority bracelet, and finding certain colors in these beads are not easy. I mean, colors like maybe pink, and that's the color that I had a small issue finding at that particular time. So everything is really not where I can say, oh, I'm going to order 5 of these or whatever. It's more of you get what is available and what's made by the market, over in Ghana. So,
And I love that you're supporting an African-owned company or an African-owned beads, and they're repurposing the glass. And I'm all about repurpose, reuse, recycle stuff, and supporting people and supporting not only women but also supporting minorities in business. So tell me why it's important to support minorities in business. I know why, but explain to the viewers that may not know why it's important.
well, I mean, for one, there's not a lot of us. I mean, I never use that word minority, but there's just not a lot of businesses compared to, other type businesses. And then of course with COVID, that added, additional struggles for just not even just Black businesses, or as you say, minority businesses, but just businesses in general. So I'm very much into also supporting my local community on top of the 2 that you just mentioned. I just think, and I wrote about it recently on a post on Instagram, that we're fortunate where we live in an area where, I mean, I feel like Raleigh and this area here around here is in North Carolina. It's just a small town, even though it's big. And just because we've connected, with people. And so that makes me, of course, want to pour back into my community.
Yeah, I love the fact that you pour back into your community, because that's so important. And plus it's important that we learn from each other and we learn about each other's experience instead of saying, well, you're like this, or just assume that people are like a certain way and they're not. Because I mean, I absolutely adore you. I adore you. I was like maybe a little bit in tears. I'm not gonna lie. When you texted and said you couldn't come to Gracie's quinceanera because somebody had gotten sick, and I was like, oh, because I really wanted you to see everything that you helped me pull together. So
yeah, my mom has been battling some health issues over these last couple years. So it's just been a lot of going back and forth. She lives in Virginia, so it's a lot of that. And yeah, so that was what was going on. Got one of those calls that said, hey, you need to come now. You know what I mean?
yeah. So where can people buy your jewelry? Do they message you on Facebook, Instagram? How do they get in contact with you about it?
That's the best way for now. I'm in the process of having the website created, and I've already created a Facebook page for the jewelry, and as well as an Instagram. So they can reach out to me on either of those platforms, or they could actually even go to the Ultimate Fashionista and contact me through there. Yeah, so that's the best way. And
Yeah.
then I treat it like I do my styling. It's just, I work with them and see what they're looking for. I'll have ready-made pieces that I will be selling and posting on those platforms very, very soon. I would say in the next week.
That was my next question. Would you have ready-made pieces? And you already answered it. I know a lot of people they want to shop for like grandparents, parents, graduates, 'cause graduation season's around, and birthdays are coming up, anniversaries are coming up, and they want to be able to just grab and go instead of having a design one.
Yep.
But that would be a great, even Father's Day is coming up on Sunday. So yeah, contact Angela if you know a man that needs a bracelet. I mean, because you saw how beautiful that was. I actually want one of them for myself.
Yeah, I do. In fact, the bracelets don't take long. So if someone were to contact me, they could get it the same day. I
Oh,
mean,
that's cool.
one that has like a tiger print, and it has the black, excuse me, the brass piece on it, but it has a tiger print and a black bead. And then here's one that was kind of a custom. Someone was in a fraternity, and they wanted their colors and things. And I even went out and I was able to find the little, the little symbols.
That's,
So
that's super cool. I love the fact you said the bracelets were easy to make and that you could actually get them with. That's a great marketing point for you. Say, hey, turn around, great turnaround for bracelets.
the ones that I'll be posting in the next couple of days as they're available, because I can just whip those out, mail them out, pretty much the same day.
Now, this is not your 100% day job, is it?
No,
This is
I'm a
like a
one woman
side
shop.
hustle.
Yes, I'm a one woman shop. I'm an engineer. Actually a project manager for IBM, and I work on artificial intelligence.
Oh, so wow. So this is like a way to get your creative mind going and kind of when you get home from the end of the day, just kind of just like relax and just and take
Yes,
the pressure off the corporate world.
I really didn't plan on becoming an artisan, a jewelry maker, but once I started with that first piece, I was hooked. I said, "Oh, this is just a great creative outlet. I can." It's almost like crocheting. I mean, you could take it with you when you go on trips. You might get inspired by something you see and easily create a piece.
Now, real quick, you mentioned trips, so I've got to know because I know COVID has put a damper on your travel. Folks, this lady travels all over the place. So, do you have a trip planned in the near future? Maybe, kind of, sorta.
But I think I'm going to have to cancel it. I was actually going to Ghana
Oh,
this month. So that trip has been canceled. I was supposed to be in Turkey in March, and I had to cancel that trip. And I have a plane reservation for Morocco in September that I'm going to cancel as well. So I won't be doing any international traveling this year. I've decided, because of COVID, it's just not worth the risk. And so again, I mean, we're fortunate to live in North Carolina where we have all these neat things to do, mountain, beach, or just parks and, museums. So I plan on doing a lot of that for the rest of the year.
yeah,
And
maybe get some inspiration for your jewelry here.
yes,
So now you can say, okay, this is the North Carolina niche. This is like the Turkey niche. Wherever you visit, you can talk about because I know a lot of people would like jewelry inspired by places that you go.
exactly. That's one reason why I like traveling, is just to learn about the culture and get inspired by everything that I'm learning and see and meet people, of course, all over the world.
That is so awesome, and honestly, I like fangirling whenever you go visit somewhere, and your pictures are amazing. Who takes your pictures when you go? Do you set a timer or?
I do. I started doing that too. I just started taking a tripod, and I have a little remote, and I use that if no one's around.
Oh wow! I mean, you got a great eye.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Someone was just asking me, they're like, "Are you planning on becoming a photographer?" And I'm like, if I try to add one more thing to my to my list, I don't know if I could survive. But I do love photography too. That's one thing I like.
So maybe after you retire, maybe photography and jewelry making will be something that keeps you busy during your retirement. Not to
That,
say you're going to retire anytime soon, but
yeah, that's true. I mean, I love my day job too, just equally as much as the creative side. I love technology and being a part of it, and working for IBM and um, developing software for companies to use to change the world for the better is what I really love. So yeah, I I hope to be around for a long, long time.
yeah, I love how you talk about the company you're changing. It's changing software is changing the world. but
Yeah.
also you're changing the world with the jewelry by bringing in pieces from beads from Ghana. Oh, did I say it right? Ghana. I said it right in that time. And bringing that in and showing people, you know, how beautiful these beads are, something that people would not be seeing in everyday life. And then creating a beautiful piece of jewelry with the beautiful beads as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, is there anything else you would like to share with the viewers?
Um, that's really it. I don't have anything else. I mean, I have a few more pieces I can share.
Okay.
Show you. Here's another medallion. This one has the reds in it, and this was made on. This was actually strung on leather as well. So that one. What else? I've got this one that has orange and browns in it.
Oh, I like those.
Thank you. Um,
And look at the intricacy of the beads. I mean, look at the work on them.
oh, thank you. There's one more that has some brass and pieces incorporated into it. So it's just fun. It's fun. It's really, really fun. Um, and
So,
I'm
guys, if you're interested in ordering or even looking at any of her jewelry, go to, I've got the ultimatefashionista.com blog scrolling down the bottom. That's how you can contact her. Or you can go to her Instagram page at Audaciously African, which is scrolling down at the bottom of the page. And also check out the Facebook page, Audaciously African, as well. Angela, thank you so much for joining today. And I am looking forward to contacting you about a piece because I want a piece of your jewelry. I really want a piece of your jewelry.
Melissa, thanks so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. You know, I love you to death. I'm just blessed that we met, years ago, and we've been able to keep in contact. And I'm still looking forward to coming to your blog cabin once.
Well, you see a little bit of a background of it right now because that's where I'm at right now. So
I still want to come out there and just have a cup of tea with you. So, yes, and thanks again for having me today. It's
all
been
right. Anytime, Angela. You're more than welcome. Okay, guys, have a great rest of your day.
thanks. Bye.